Welcome back to She Talks Money, the podcast where we talk about building wealth, creating multiple income streams, and living with intention. Not just financially, but physically, emotionally, and energetically too. I'm your host, Jennifer Butcher, and today's episode is a little different, but so necessary. Because what's the point of chasing success if your health is falling apart behind the scenes? I've personally experienced this, years of pushing, achieving, and holding everything together until I couldn't. I was tired, foggy, anxious, and didn't realize I was entering perimenopause. No one warned me what that would feel like or how my hormones and nervous system were impacting everything, from my energy to my ambition. So today, I am honored to welcome a guest who gets it. She's an integrative health coach, yoga instructor, and guide for women navigating stress, burnout, and hormonal changes. She helps women return to balance so they can thrive, not just survive. She's helped hundreds of women with hormonal balance and natural weight loss. We're going to be talking about burnout, perimenopause, hormone shifts in your 30s and 40s, and most importantly, what you can do to feel better now. Whether you're a high-achieving woman, a mom, a business owner, or all three, you're going to walk away with so many aha moments and tangible strategies for feeling more like yourself again. So let's dive in. Welcome to the podcast, Jenna Padula.
I am so happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Jennifer.
Absolutely. I am so excited to have you here, and I have been wanting to have you here since I met you because I was really struggling. That's how I found you in the first place. Going through perimenopause and just what ended up now realizing years of stress and buildup to what just came down to a total crash. And you've been so helpful. And I know that you help so many other women that are in the same exact state that I was. So I'm so excited with everything that you're going to share here today and a little bit of my story a little bit later as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Your story is definitely very spot on for what I see with my clients. You know, I work with a lot of high producing, high level women in their companies, or whether they're entrepreneurs, juggling motherhood, and just trying to find balance. And it seems that they get to this point where they are finally out of the weeds of motherhood. Kids are a little bit older, they have a little bit more time back in their day, and they're still working really hard at what they're doing for their career.
Yeah.
But then they're hitting a wall. They're gaining a lot of weight, have no energy. They are having kind of relational problems because of what's going on the inside.
Mhm.
And they're at this point where they know that if they don't invest in their health now and get on top of what's happening and the symptoms that they're experiencing, the rest of their life is not going to look like a pretty picture.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's rewind, because now in hindsight, it's easy to look back and say, wow, this was going on for a few years before I even had any idea that I was physically experiencing symptoms of what was happening. But let's start with burnout. What are some early signs that women are approaching burnout, even if they're still functioning normally on the outside?
Yeah. I think the first telltale sign is that chronic fatigue.
Mhm.
Low capacity. You're go, go, go all day. And then you come home and to your family, you're coming with this high energy. And it's kind of startling your kids, it's startling your husband. And you're like, does nobody get it? Oh, like
Yeah.
I'm working so hard.
Yeah.
And so I think the energy and capacity to hold space for other
Mhm.
people, I think that immediately is just out the window. When you aren't taking these times to calibrate and recenter and pause throughout the day. And for my clients, I recommend right away in the morning
Mhm.
having there's this wonderful podcast, and I also make meditations where it's like 10 minutes every morning. I set my alarm just 10 minutes earlier to lay in bed to listen to this meditation.
Mhm.
And it absolutely starts out my day at this refreshed, I have time for me. And it's essentially rewriting that narrative of you have time for you. You have to make time for you.
I think it also inserts a pause, because meditation has changed my life. I started meditating probably 3 or so years ago, and it started out a few times a week. And now I literally do it every single day. And I do it in the morning, 10 to 20 minutes or so, depending on how much time I have. But it's literally inserted a pause when I was so reactionary prior.
Mhm.
And now through meditation, I've learned to just pause. I'm a better listener because I stop and I actually listen to what somebody is saying to me.
Yeah.
But then even with my kids or my husband, they say something and you have like this immediate reaction. You want to bark or whatever. It's like, nope, just pause for a second. And
Yeah.
I contribute so much of that to meditation.
I'm
That's great.
so curious because there's so many different types of meditation. There's, you're just, whether it be in silence, trying to calm your mind, just listening to like frequency music. That's really calming. There's listening to guided meditations or just like active meditation or like mindfulness where you're just being very mindful and not multitasking. I think the multitasking, although can be efficient, I think that's also something that leads to a lot of burnout.
Yeah.
But I'm curious with your meditation and practice, like how did that start and like what does it look like? Like what do you gravitate towards?
Yeah, I was in a coaching group and she introduced us at a retreat to meditation. And then since then, I usually use a guided meditation every single morning. And sometimes it's just kind of background music. So I have something to listen to and it's timed and I just let my thoughts go. Sometimes it's just more prayerful that I just take moments of silence and just, focus on prayer. And other times I've learned a few different breathing techniques and I do that a lot in the middle of the day. So in the middle of the day, if I just need like a quick reset, my mind, or I'm feeling really fatigued, I can do some different types of breathing to just kind of reset my mind and re-energize and move on to the next thing.
It sounds like you have a variety for the different times of
Yeah.
day for what you need.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like
absolutely.
your meditation toolkit to help build in the space and time. So when we're dealing with burnout, it's this almost, I don't have enough time. And you're creating this internal stress of these internal expectations that you're the only one setting them, actually.
Exactly.
It's a self-induced problem. And so I love that you found, okay, a guided meditation in the morning, maybe prayer, and then during the day, like deep breathing, breathwork techniques.
Yeah.
Do you have any ones that you gravitate towards breathwork?
I like box breathing a lot. It just seems to just reset me and give me a lot of energy right out the gate as soon as I'm done. So it's probably the one that I use the most. Or I'm not sure the technical term for it, but the just different timed breathing. So you're breathing in for so many counts, and then you're breathing out for so many counts, or you're holding for so many counts, and it just helps you. Especially if you're really anxious or stressed out about something, it helps you stop that fight or flight and lets your brain kind of reset to think clearly and focus on then whatever needs to be accomplished to fix the problem or whatever.
Yeah.
So
we should do a short breath work for the listeners.
I would love that.
Do you want to do like do you do the force?
Yeah.
Okay. So box breathing is breathing in for a certain amount of seconds. Typically it's a count of 4. And so you breathe in, so you can inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold 2, 4. And then inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 4. We'll do one more. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 3, 4.
Love it.
So
It's
just
so nice. It just helps you kind of exhale, right? So, okay. How does chronic stress and burnout affect hormone health, especially for women in their mid-30s and 40s?
Yeah. So your adrenals are what produce these stress hormones, right? Cortisol, I feel like that is like the most commonly heard of stress hormone. And cortisol gets a bad reputation, but it's really the most helpful hormone in our body. It gives us energy.
Yeah.
Blue light is what stimulates cortisol. And that's why they say, hey, if you need more energy, get outside in the morning, get that sunlight. But it truly is the blue light from the sky,
Okay.
which is what gives us that natural cortisol
Mm-hmm.
that gives us that energy to sustain the day.
Okay.
And then when we're dealing with cortisol dysregulation, which is what happens when we're burnt out,
Mhm.
it's we are way too stimulated. So even when the sun goes down, we're working really, really hard. Essentially, your brain is on, which then your body is emitting either too much cortisol, which can lead to adrenal fatigue because your adrenals are like, you don't have that much. Like, we only have a capacity and it refuels every night when you fall asleep.
Yeah.
Cortisol and melatonin have this special relationship.
Mhm.
And melatonin is that sleepy hormone. And so when sun goes down, we don't have the blue sky anymore, right? It's dark outside.
Mhm.
That's when our cortisol should be coming down. And once cortisol is down to a certain amount, that's when melatonin can then start increasing. But it takes cortisol being down a certain
Yeah.
level for melatonin to start taking.
Okay.
But what happens is with these high level, especially like business owner, entrepreneur, or just like really high up in a company, you're still working on your laptop at night. We're getting that blue light, right? Like I'm guilty of it too. I get it. But there's some things that we can do, like not that you want to push through, but sometimes things have to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So blue light glasses are really great. Take 10 minutes to do a meditation, doing some of that box breathing. Those are all things that can help support your adrenals so that you're having healthy cortisol hormone amounts coming out. And then your body then, once you're done working, cortisol's down here, melatonin is rising, actually fall asleep on time. We actually stay asleep on time. But if we're having this imbalance of cortisol and melatonin, we're not getting restful sleep. We're not recharging our adrenals for the next day to accomplish everything that we want to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I've had to change up my night routine because I was having a lot of trouble falling asleep. And so putting my screen away was really hard, but putting my screen away optimally an hour before I go to bed. And then reading. So
Mhm.
switching that out for reading before I go to bed. And then recently, literally in the last 2 weeks, I discovered sleepy time tea.
Mm.
It has made a huge impact. I'm telling everybody about it because it has been helping me just get sleepy. I think I have the Yogi one. Not that this is a promotion for any particular type of tea,
I
but
love that
I
brand.
drink it, and a good, the only problem is then you have to get up to go to the bathroom usually at night. But, that's another thing. But I fall asleep a lot faster, and
Yeah.
and even once I get up, I can fall back asleep. So that is super
Yeah.
helpful.
And one last thing to add with that nighttime routine to support burnout, to support hormones, even if you're still working,
Mhm.
even if you still have stuff to do, can you lower the lighting in your house?
Oh, nice.
Maybe no overhead lighting.
Okay.
If you know me, you know I don't do overhead lights after the sun has set. I got a salt lamp, or we just turn other lamps, or like candlelight.
Okay.
It's that low lighting that signals to your body, hey, we are slowing down.
Mm,
This is our time to get into this rest mode.
yeah.
Having a ritual of having a nighttime beverage too, that tells your body, hey, we're slowing down. We're getting ready for bed. And if you want to add one more thing on top of that, if you feel like you've already got those things down, have a nighttime scent.
So are there particular scents that I mean, I know I've heard a lot about like maybe lavender because there's like lavender sprays for your pillow and that type of thing. Any other ones that you recommend?
I do love a lavender. It's a
Okay.
good one. And truthfully, it's whatever you enjoy.
Oh, nice.
I feel you can also bring this when you're traveling. So let's just say it's an essential oil, right? Like you have it diffusing, or maybe you just put a little on your wrist. Maybe you dab it on you. Maybe you put it on your pillow. Sometimes I'll just dab the essential oil on my wrist and I'll just like put it on my sheets,
Nice.
right? And what's nice is it's signaling, okay, this is another cue that we're getting ready for bed. And if you travel for work, or if you're traveling and you know that sleeping in a different environment is challenging for you, you can bring this scent with you, and it will then trigger, oh yeah, when I smell this.
Yeah.
And so I just recommend whatever scent you like. I mean, in theory, the more citrus things are, it truly is what you enjoy, and then creating that association and that bedtime ritual.
Okay. So I can get into a little bit of my experience, but just to ask you, many women in their 30s and 40s, they start experiencing perimenopause symptoms without realizing it. That was me. Thank you. What are some of the subtle or not so subtle signs that this transition has begun?
Yeah, I would say the not so subtle, the night flashes, the hot flashes, those definitely are a sign that there's that hormonal change in your body and possibly more inflammation
Yeah.
going on in your system, and it's coming out. Your body having these symptoms is actually a good thing because it tells you, hey, something's going on and I need to address it.
Mm-hmm.
I need to put more energy into supporting my body because if I essentially was in perfect health, I probably wouldn't be having these. So
Right.
it's a signal that you need to support something
Mm-hmm.
in your health. Um,
I will say though, and this is why we're sharing this, right? Because from someone who, and when you think back, 2020 and 2021, even 2022 were insane years in my business, the mortgage business. I was working nonstop hours through COVID with rates being so down. So now that I look back, I can easily see burnout was approaching and happening. But I also was entering my 40s, and it literally took me, I mean, the day I woke up in the deepest depression I have ever experienced in my life, and it went on and it wasn't going away. That's what finally made me stop and say, wait a minute, what's happening? And then after I found out what was happening, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it dawned on me, like, all of the night sweats was one of my first symptoms. I'm always cold. How did I not know when I was waking up in the middle of the night, like soaked in sweat, something was going on? But I didn't. I was like, oh, it must have been hot in the room last night. Like,
mm,
and this was night after night after night, and I didn't put it all together. So I think it's important to share with women these types of symptoms so that maybe they can, as they, are listening to this and they think, oh yeah, actually I have been experiencing that, because
yeah.
I don't want people to get to where I was. You know what I mean? I think looking back, it was when you're talking burnout symptoms. I mean, I went to my doctor 2 years in a row and I did say, like, something feels off. Like I feel like I have one good week a month, and then I'm like so angry I could, kill people.
Mhm.
I can't get out of bed. I'm so upset, or I'm crying for no reason. Or like I have absolutely no energy. And if you know me, I'm very high energy. So it's like, shouldn't I get more than, is this just cycle? This can't just be cyclical
Right.
hormones. Like I have to be able to get one better week a month than this.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward to the beginning of last year, and it progressed to not being able to focus. I'm very ambitious. So not being able to focus, and I was talking to a real estate friend of mine the other week, and she ended up crying because, I'm explaining about how I felt. And I said, it's as if I knew the woman that I'm capable of being and the things that I wanted to accomplish. I'm going to cry, but I couldn't quite reach her. Like she was just beyond my reach. It's like I know who I wanted to be, and I wanted to be her so bad, but I couldn't get there. And she
Mm.
just started crying. She's like, that's exactly how I feel. So, and it was like that leading up to like waking up just so depressed that I was like, okay, like something is going on.
Yeah.
And then I went to my traditional doctor, and of course, like this, and nothing against her. I love my doctor, but the solution was like probably an antidepressant, and that has its place, right? But I think for women, they need to understand, like, these are the symptoms and maybe there's some alternative solutions
Yeah.
to kind of help guide them through. So is there anything else, as women are maybe listening to this saying, I wake up sweating at night, or maybe experiencing some of these other symptoms, like what are some steps that they can take to help relieve or feel better?
Yeah. And I just want to touch up on, the whole mood and emotional side to it. I think that that's the other most common symptom that I see. Third, probably like weight loss resistance, weight
Yeah.
gain. Um, but just knowing that that is like a very unfortunately common symptom where people wake up with that same experience and they're like, what's wrong with me? And then they go to their doctor. essentially get gaslit just to being like, hey, it's just get on this pill, when there was for you, right? There was like this root cause of something that was going on. And I'm just so proud of you for being such a great health advocate for yourself, and how inspiring that is for other people in the same situation to know how to advocate for their health and to push. You say, I'm someone who is just like so go-getter. And you, even though in the depths of your struggles, you still actually were really go-getter and really advocated for yourself to figure out what the solution was for you.
Yeah. But I took a lot of that struggle internally, right? Like to me, I wasn't pushing. I just needed to push through it. You're not working hard enough. You're not, you know what I mean? And so for someone who's already going 100 miles per hour,
Yeah.
it was like, go harder. Like, what is wrong? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror, being like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just do this? Why can't I just accomplish this? And then now, I mean, fast forward, I'm almost a year, and I went and I'm on hormone replacement therapy and whatnot. But a year later, I look back and I just want to hug that woman. I want to hug her and be like, you can do it. Like, I'm a completely different person. I am who I felt like, the woman I couldn't reach. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm there again. And so that's why we're sharing this, right? I want more and more women to know, like, because I look at it, and what happened was I in the midst of that deep depression, I still kept going to the gym. I'm like, if I stop that, then I'm really getting in trouble. And I walked into the gym one day and I saw someone I know well enough, a friend, and she was just like, how are you? And I knew her well enough to look at her and say, I'm actually not okay. I'm like falling apart. And she's like, what's going on? And I told her, and she was like, here's a podcast, here is a book. And by the time I got home, I listened to the first episode of the podcast about perimenopause. And I was like, how did I not know this? Like, I thought this was menopause, and I knew I wasn't in menopause, so it couldn't have been me. But turns out all of those things can happen up to 10 years before you hit menopause.
It's crazy. Yeah. And what happens with that perimenopause is your hormones start tanking. And when that happens, that's why anxiety comes up, because your hormones, used to fluctuating throughout your cycle, they're now.
Yeah.
Right. And I wanted to just take a moment to just go through this list that I made up for this episode, just to kind of bring a little bit more awareness to what those menopause symptoms are, the burnout symptoms are, and then I can go into what I help my clients with, like what are like the action steps that should be taken.
Okay.
That will be generally good for everyone. It's always different for the symptoms that they're experiencing. So whether it be you connect up with me afterwards or with your doctor asking these questions of, with what I'm experiencing, what is going to turn the needle?
Yes.
Right.
Love it.
So menopause symptoms, we talked about the hot flashes, night sweats, irregular periods, vaginal dryness, mood changes, sleep problems, memory issues, difficulty concentrating, and then joint and muscle pain or stiffness. Now, burnout, physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, detachment, starting to not really care about whatever.
Yeah.
Reduced performance, irregular sleep patterns, headaches, stomach issues, other stress-related ailments. Migraines are a big one that I see with that. Increased anxiety or depression, and then isolation. So lots of similarities in there, and I often find that women are experiencing them at the same time.
Yeah.
So what do? We have to find some sort of mind, body, soul nourishment. Something's not being nourished, something from your past, whether it be your genetics, whether it be lifestyle. After a decade or 2 or 3 of living a certain way, it catches up to us. I think diet is the key fundamental piece. And what I would recommend is making sure you are getting your healthy fats in. I think knowing that when we are going through perimenopause or menopause and your hormones are tanking, we need to be able to have these healthy fats that help with hormone production. And then on top of that, having, if it's applicable for you, more phytoestrogen-rich foods in. So phytoestrogen, phyto is plant, estrogen, we know that's one of the lovely hormones we have. And these phytoestrogens, like seeds, like different soy, so whether it be tofu and pumpkin seeds are also another great source of that. These help to, like you were saying, you're on hormone replacement therapy. This is kind of like the first step.
Yes.
Seeing if these things help, seeing if these things are enough to turn the needle. And it is, you have to be consistent in them. So whether it be you have a parfait or a protein shake every day and you're adding in the flaxseed, maybe some chia seeds, those have really great fatty acids in there that help with hormone production. And so becoming really consistent, being patient, because how long were you not having those things? Adding them in, even supplements, right? There's a lot of different supplements that help with hormone support. But if we've been this long without it, it's going to take a little bit for them to start really working in a sense.
Yeah.
But some different supplements can have like night and day differences.
Yes.
And so it's all dependent on the person and what they need. But chasteberry tree is a very common one. Black cohosh, those are more of the herbal, more natural ones to research and look into, talk to your doctor about. But there's so much more than that. But I think that coming down to your nutrition, adopting an anti-inflammatory diet, which is what I teach my clients on. And an anti-inflammatory diet looks different for everyone. I utilize DNA testing in my programs to really find out what they need from like a macro perspective. So fats, proteins, carbs, and then on like the micro level, different nutrients that they may have a genetic mutation for. So they don't absorb them well. They may need a little bit more support, whether it be with food sources or supplements to really get that optimal level. So bio-individual. However, an anti-inflammatory diet is quite simple to follow. It's just coming back to whole foods, getting enough protein in, getting your healthy fats in, your fruits and veggies. Coming back to that, taking out the things that we know exacerbate inflammation, which inflammation is what exacerbates these conditions, these symptoms.
So I know that was one of the first things I did even before HRT, or as I was waiting to get that regulated, was changing my nutrition. And I started, anti-inflammatory diet was the key to it, I think, in integrating like flaxseed and chia seeds and things like that. And then I had done previous nutrition or allergy tests and knew that I was very highly sensitive to gluten and dairy. And I had kind of been like, about it, like I was trying to avoid it, but I wouldn't always. And then as I started paying a lot closer attention, was realizing when I did eat those things, the inflammation in my body was causing, it's not just bloating, I would get down or I would get anxious or I would, it was showing up in different ways, not being able to sleep. And so just eliminating all that together has made a big difference. So, all right. A lot of women feel overwhelmed by wellness advice. So, what would you say are your top 3 non-negotiables when it comes to daily wellness practices that help women feel or stay balanced, calm, and resilient?
The number one, 100%, is getting quality sleep. You're not going to be able to have balanced hormones if you're not sleeping. And I know that that can be the most challenging thing for people to help with. We all want like an instant fix. Like, just give me a pill. Just like tell me what to eat. But I can't be there telling you to turn off and go to bed. That's a boundary that needs to be set. And whether it is you do need to get on medication to help you sleep through the night, or finding a balance of things that work for you, whether it be getting your nighttime scent, having your sleepy time tea, having a bedtime meditation, which I have a really great bedtime meditation that I've made. You're out within 20 minutes.
Oh,
it's so good.
Well, maybe we can link it in the show notes.
We should definitely link that one.
Okay, perfect.
So sleep is by far the most important thing to help balance your hormones and burnout.
Okay.
Both of them.
Okay.
And so 7 hours, please. At least, like, honestly, especially if you're going through that transition, you need closer to 9.
Yeah.
You need closer to 9. So how can you add that in? And, I hate to say it, but if that cuts into your morning workout time, you need to rest in order to heal, to balance, to then add that back in. And so,
And it might be a little bit of negotiation or compromise with your partner. That was me. My husband loves to watch TV up until he falls asleep at night. And I'm very sensitive, and the light would bother me. I sleep with an earplug so I can't hear him snore or the TV. And part of that negotiation was when I wasn't feeling well was like, look, I need to be able to go into the room at X time and I need to just lights out, go to sleep. And I might need your help with the kids if they're staying up later or whatever. And he compromised and he did it. And now I can get my solid 7 hours of sleep.
what a good partner.
Yeah.
That's so important to have someone that is
Yeah.
supportive of you and what your best interest is and
Yeah.
the best interest for your family,
Yeah.
truthfully. So
Yeah, for sure.
God bless them.
Yeah. I'll let him know. Any other non-negotiable?
Yeah. I would say making sure you're having at least 2. If you're going to have just 2 meals a day, like a brunch and a dinner, make sure to have at least like 2 substantial snacks in there. But making sure you're not skipping meals.
Okay.
Yeah, I think those 2 are, well, adding in a third one. I think adding in the pauses of the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be long. It could be 3 sets of the box breathing like we did. So that would take a minute most, but getting used to adding that pause in, whether it be from work to home life, you're sitting in the car for an extra 5 minutes or something, just to like regulate yourself, start your day regulated, end your day regulated, adding in more space and time for you. Because what happens with burnout is your actions aren't showing you that you actually care about you.
Yeah.
So we need to start flipping the script and saying, no, I do have the time for me. I do have the time to eat. I do have the time to step away.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to look at your calendar for the next week or 2 and reprioritize things, whether it be ruthlessly take something off of your calendar that doesn't need to be there or that can reschedule. I think that protecting your time will help you get more sleep, will help you be able to have 3 meals a day, will help you be able to build in these spaces to have that calm collection. That's going to help you get out of this burnout. That's going to help you manage through these hormonal shifts that you are.
And prioritizing yourself is going to help you show up better in every version of yourself. You'll be a better mom. You'll be a better wife. You'll be a better, business partner, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Putting yourself first is not selfish. You need to take care of yourself so that you can show up in your best form.
Yeah. And I just want to come back to that kind of question there again of, are the actions that you're choosing showing you that you care about you? Or are they not? So like taking a moment for the listeners just to think about, have your actions been showing you that you actually care about you? Because although we like to think, of course, yeah, I got. But when we're in this burnout, when we're dealing with hormonal imbalances, we actually take an inventory and see, are my actions showing me that I care about me? It helps you to make that realistic switch a little bit sooner and just having that reality check.
I was just listening to a Mel Robbins podcast, and I can't remember the person that she had on, but they were saying when it comes to, what diseases am I thinking of? Autoimmune diseases. Thank you. The percentage of women, especially over the age of 40, that have autoimmune diseases, it's like, I can't remember. I'll find it and maybe quote it. But it was a tremendous percentage of women who have autoimmune diseases and over men because we put everybody else first. We take care of kids. We take care of people at work. We put everybody above ourselves. And then we end up suffering in our later years because we didn't take care of our own bodies. So we're giving you permission. Put yourself first and make sure you're taking care of yourself first.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said.
So where can people find you? I know she has a tremendous amount of resources, classes, like she's just amazing, but where's the best place people can find you?
Yeah, on my Instagram, I am very active. It's Jenna Padula Wellness. I have the link to my website in there as well, and we can put that in the show notes. Yeah, I host different wellness events, yoga, sound bath, nutrition. I do one-on-one coaching for high-level, busy professionals who need that support and accountability to add more wellness into their life or health issues continue brewing.
And sometimes that's just what we need for a short period of time to build habit that we can then take care of ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
This
you
was
for having
amazing.
me.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, but I feel like I just exhaled. This conversation reminded me how powerful it is when women start listening to their bodies and taking their health seriously, not as an afterthought, but as a strategy for success. If today's episode spoke to you, please share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Screenshot it, tag me and Jenna on Instagram, and let us know your favorite takeaway. And hey, if you're navigating this stage of life, you're not alone. Your energy matters, your well-being matters, you matter. Thanks for tuning in to She Talks Money, where we talk about building wealth and becoming well. I'll see you next week.